Hello everyone, welcome back to the table. Today we got another Kickstarter to look at, and I wanted to share something on this because it's only got 54 hours to go. I heard about this one sooner and I was like, why didn't I put some stuff out for this sooner? Because I'm actually really looking forward to this, and we're down to 54 hours to go on this Kickstarter. I have not heard if there will be like a late pledge manager or anything like that. So if this game is of any interest to you, I would say hop on it now before it's done. So, you know, if you're watching this video 2-3 weeks from now, then, you know, it's done and it's passed and it's, you know, out there. But if you see this now in the next little bit of time, go check it out while you can. Alright, so we're going to take a look at this. Is the Point Blank V is for Victory. This is from Lock and Load Publishing. And as we look through it, we'll talk a little bit about it. Just in case you haven't heard of it. Some of you, if you follow Lock and Load Publishing, then you're already quite aware of it. But this is a card-driven tactical game. And you might be thinking, there's a lot of card-driven tactical games. Well, this one, I think, is a little bit different than some I've seen recently, and we'll talk just a little bit about that. I would say if anybody was going to compare this to anything, it might be kind of like comparable to Up Front, but I'm just going to say in style only. I've never played Up Front, and of course I've never played this really yet because it's, you know, still on Kickstarter, but just from what I've seen and some comments I've read, that's kind of, I think, where people are going to draw some comparisons, but you'll probably learn that there's also a lot of differences. So this is not like a reprint or anything like that. Like, this is its own game. It's just, I know that some people, like myself, we sometimes tend to compare this to that to get some kind of perspective. And that's like the only game I can really think of as a tactical card game that fits that, where your cards represent, well, I think Up Front, the cards represented individual soldiers. This is actually going to be a little bit higher up than that, so the cards will represent squads and half squads. It's almost like taking, but again, plays differently, but it's like taking the board games, the Lock and Load tactical games, and putting them into a card game. But we'll look at how obviously it's different here. So we'll just come along. Here's a nice picture, shows how the layout looks. I love the artwork. That's one thing that drew me to this, is I think the artwork is great. It's going to come with 520 cards, 698 with stretch goals, and stretch goals have been unlocked. And that's the poker size cards, so you're going to need a lot of card sleeves. That's, let's see, the card sleeves I get are about $10 a pack, $10, $11. I'm going to probably end up spending about $100 in card sleeves. Woof, alright, but you can sleeve them. There's mini cards. So the mini cards will have, with the stretch goals, 119, and that's a different card sleeve if you want to sleeve those. So that's a lot of card sleeve. It's a lot of cards. Admin counters, these two maps. There's a central, like, neutral zone area on one of them. You're going to get a rule book, your module with scenarios and module rules, kind of an idea of some of the cards you're going to get, terrain cards, objective cards. So, I mean, obviously that's what sets this apart from, you know, Lock and Load Tactical, is the fact that, you know, that's counters and hexes, and this is going to be cards, and the map's going to be a little bit larger so it can fit the cards. And then the map, the artwork, has nothing to do with what's actually in the square where you play the cards. That's all going to be based on your terrain cards. So some of that will be randomly drawn as you play. So it's not a set map. So you're essentially can have almost a slightly different map layout every time you play, and that, I think, is a strong selling point there compared to, say, like, you know, a hex game where the artwork never changes. And so when you play, to make it kind of variable, you know, sometimes you have to say, well, you don't always set troops here in these specific hexes, but you decide where to put them to take advantage of that terrain. Because the terrain don't change, but you can change where the people are. Here, you can kind of change where the people start, because the scenarios will say, you know, you're going to deploy on this side of the map in these areas, but the terrain will change with that as well. So you kind of get a different gameplay experience, even if you play the same scenario more than once. A lot of administrative markers to go with that. Player aid cards. They always make great player aid cards. Okay, so this is something that I think is phenomenal if you haven't checked this out yet. But here's a link to the online rules. Here's a sample page, but one of these, that's the link right there. And this takes you to the phenomenal lock and load. Always has a little sound effect. But this takes you to the phenomenal, if you haven't seen this yet, this is a phenomenal online library of all their rules. And they already got the rules for Point Blank. Could this change? Yeah, sure. They update their rules all the time for the regular game. So this, I can never say that this is final. Plus, you know, hasn't even published yet. But from what they have, it's a slick looking rule book. And you can see there's a lot of information in here. 86 pages. But don't let that discourage you. I've already flipped through here. There's a lot of good examples. It's a very nice in-depth game for a tactical card game. It's not like Magic the Gathering. Not saying that's not in-depth, but I think sometimes when people think of like a card game, they're expecting, you know, a few pages of rules. I don't know what people are thinking. It's just that I have played some tactical card games that hard to describe. I don't want to name and shame or anything like that, but they're just not as well put together, I think, as this. And this is great. Okay, just had to let it flip there. But anyway, going through here, it's a rule book. I'm not going to take you through every single page, but I encourage you to come and check it out for yourself if you haven't yet, because it's there for you to look at. And I think that's great. There are some Kickstarters I've seen come out, like board games and stuff. They're like hesitant to put the rules. Maybe they just don't have the rules written yet. I don't know. But you can tell they've already put quite a bit of work into this, and it shows. And it looks amazing. I'm about halfway through, so I guess if I just keep flipping, we get to the end. We're not looking at anything in particular, just flipping through. I know probably people would want more pictures and example diagrams. There's a lot of text, but from the parts that I've read so far to get to the beginning, it's laid out really, really well, and it's written in kind of a conversational, so it's not just a, you know, bullet point, bullet point, bullet point. It's kind of written from let me explain how this works. If you've read any of their other rule books, you'll kind of understand what I mean. It's very well written. And then, like I said, we won't linger on anything in particular, but just kind of flip through rally, ready, snipers. Then last part here has terrain. Nice in-depth explanation on terrain and how it affects things. Here's your objective cards and how that affects things. Resources, the video boot camp. There's links in here. So if you don't like to read the rules, you can go to the video. Or let's say you read the rules, something doesn't make sense. Another cool thing I like about Lock and Load Publishing is they've gone to the great effort of making these tutorial videos. And let's see if this link is clickable. Yep, nope. But anyway, if you take that link, go there, then I believe his name is Gimpy Gamer, and he does a lot of video tutorials, so you can maybe read part of the rule book, or if you don't want to read the rule book at all, just go there, and then he'll explain the rules and show how it works and whatnot. So that's cool, just something they got in there. Game narrative. Okay, then we got a glossary. You know, so it's if this is not the final rule book, it's an amazing rule book for what they have. So I thought I would flip through that. So check it out. You can learn a lot about the game from that. Then it just, you know, the Kickstarter tells us what the core rules include. Here's the game map. So this will butt up these two maps together. This is typically the American side, and that's like where the objectives go, from what I've gathered so far. So this yellow strip is kind of the no man's land, and it's so you just butt the two maps together, put like your objectives there, and then you're ready to go. And the cards. Again, I know art is subjective. I just thought, I guess I had to do it this way. So old-fashioned. But I thought, these look great. I love the artwork here. Very stylistic, but very realistic. And yeah, there's a lot of information going on here, but they do have at the very beginning of that rule book a nice icon chart, and then on the player aids, you know, this will be very quickly learned, like the movement. If I can remember, there's like smoke. I don't remember. It's like, well, is it easy to remember? I remember some of it though. You know, you got your grenades, a recon. So, okay, the black flag means you can like capture points because they've got a flag control. So I don't remember all the icons, but give me a break. This thing just, you know, haven't had that much time to read everything. I'll learn it though. But that's one thing I like about the fact the game is on these cards, because there's no way you could cram this amount of information onto a counter. So having the card with everything, and you know, again, it's subjective to the viewer. Is it too much even for a card? I don't think so. To me, it's only too much if you're covering the artwork, and got artwork, so I'm good. I'm happy. It works. They got little. These are some of the examples of the little card. The leaders come on the smaller cards. Here's an example of a tank. Again, quite a bit of information on there, but I think it's an appropriate amount. Yeah, I just think it looks slick. Anyway, bazooka, MG34. Here's some objectives, unit actions, the dice roll. To my knowledge, I think they said there might be some dice rolling for certain things when I was reading the intro to the rules, but now I don't remember. But I do know that for a lot of like combat rolls and stuff like that, you're going to be flipping cards, because the dice is right there on the card. Here's some of your player aid. Let's see, I don't know if that's clickable, can't tell. Module rules and scenario book. Now, okay, so this is what's, to me, is definitely the selling point right here. If you have Tabletop Simulator, they've got the game available for you to try for yourself, free. I mean, you have to have Tabletop Simulator. If you already have it, cool. If you haven't purchased it, it goes on sale once in a while. To my knowledge, this is not going to go away. If anything, it will just be updated with any changes that they make. But this is like the game can sell itself kind of a thing. And if you watch, there's a video here too, which has Devin, the original Grognard. He's going through it and explaining different aspects of the game through the Tabletop Simulator and how to make it work. So you can go get the mod for yourself, and it is great. It is a really well put together mod, and I think that, you know, with the rule books and even watching like the boot camp videos to kind of get you started, you'll play. And there is a solo mode that was mentioned in the Kickstarter, and I don't know if any of the solo mode components are. I don't remember seeing anything in the Tabletop Simulator mod for solo mode, but that means if you're a solo player like me, until that comes out, you know, you'll just kind of have to play both sides, which I think I'll be okay with. And then here's a little sample, like kind of the mechanics of how it's played. You know, obviously they got the rule book boot camp to learn how it's played, but this gives you a nice summary compared to what I would be able to do right now. And then here's lots of videos. Come check it out. Here's, let's see, I got a gameplay demo. Oops, come on, go. So come check it out. Lots, and then sample of those boot camp videos. And then we got stretch goals. All of it's unlocked. The solo, that wasn't the first stretch goal at first when they started, but they moved that to first because they knew that's what people really wanted. And bam, solo mode unlocked. We've got some additional, just read below there, British Airborne squads. Scenarios that go with the British Airborne. Let's see, terrain cards. Additional armored vehicles for the Germans. Additional support weapons. Unlock additional British reinforcements done. German player gains more squads. Then we get the Canadians. And more objectives. What's this one? A campaign. And then the do your own rules. You're not making your own rules, but it's the how to make your own scenarios, which that is fantastic, because now, there is a book that has scenarios for you, troop layout and all that stuff, and then here's rules to do it yourself. That means just this base game, and if you have all the stretch goals with it, then you have virtually an unlimited amount of gameplay. I can't wait to see the Russians, and then you can get other stuff. East Front is my preferred gaming area, so I'm excited to see if this does well enough. We'll get Russians at some point, but then you'd have, if you add that in, you have virtually unlimited battles everywhere. And then an Africa core expansion. Well, I see a lot of potential here. Now, it says here 13th stretch goal. The stretch goal will be announced once we reach this stretch goal level. It says unlocked. I don't think I remember seeing anything telling me what the 13th stretch goal is, but it's unlocked, so there's something. And this is cool. It's already sold out though, so again, if you're just getting in here on the Kickstarter, this one you'll probably miss out on. There was a level, the collector level, which was down here. I guess it's this one here. For $95 or more, I think at the end, the way it reads is that if you take that level, then at the end of the Kickstarter campaign, I guess it might be a drawing or something, and you have a chance to win one of 2 of these professionally painted busts. I don't know who Brett Avance is, or Avance, but that's phenomenal looking. Because a lot of times those things just come as like, gray resin casts or something, and those look great. So that, unfortunately, I'm looking here, already gone. 16 backers, so 2 of those 16 backers will get one or the other, I believe, is how that's going to work. Then there's the Y pledge, the backer it, shipping, costs, and things like that. Shipping, gosh, everything's going up. Don't get me started on shipping. Half the time the shipping costs as much as it's a pain, but yeah, it's pricey. Okay, so some of the pledge levels before the Kickstarter campaign is over, so that's why I'm trying to post this today. $5, thanks, you support it. It says it doesn't get you the game or any stretch goals, but you can use the updates to determine if you want to jump in later. And then there's the reporting for duty for $85 US. Receive 1 copy of Point Blank, V is for Victory, all unlocked stretch goals, which are valued at about $125. So that's a super good reason, again, because that's a lot of extra cards, and you figure when that goes solo, who knows how much they'll have to charge per pack of cards, but altogether, there's no extra cost to get those $125 worth of cards. That's part of your $85 pledge. And then the shipping is mentioned later. Oh, March 2022, so that's less than a year away. If they can meet that, that's a super good turnaround time on that. Okay, so the pledge $160. And that's received 2 copies of Point Blank, V is for Victory, the stretch goals, and then of course mention shipping on there. So you can get 1 or 2 copies. If you get 2 copies, you're saving a little bit of money there, because you're saving about $10, 85, and then 160 if you want to. So you'd save like $10 there. So that's, again, what your interest, if you want 1 or 2 copies. But that's the Kickstarter there in a nutshell. Yeah, the thing is, don't take my word for it. Go check out some of the gameplay videos attached to the Kickstarter, and I'm serious, they've got a Tabletop Simulator mod. Like, look, if we look at the little video here, you'll see, if you're not familiar with Tabletop Simulator, let me pause that for like 2 seconds here. So basically, Tabletop Simulator, if you're not familiar with it, or you're not familiar with like something like Vassal, this is a virtual tabletop that lets you play board games. And if you do Tabletop Simulator specifically, There lately have been so many war games added, out of print games, new stuff for people to test out. Games like this, you know, from Kickstarter. And then in this mod specifically has the rule book and the scenario book off to the side that you can't see, and then it's got, you know, all the cards and things that you need. There's don't know the layout here, but like the German cards are here, the US unit cards are up there, and it works really, really well. Player aids, things that you need. Yeah, so anyway, that's what a virtual tabletop is. And then you and your opponent, if you're playing two people or even solo, you'll pick like what side of the table you're playing on, and then you draw your cards, place them, and basically you're just using this and your mouse to move units around and play your game. It works great. It's very popular. I know a lot of people are used to using Vassal, so nothing against Vassal, but for some people, a game that's maybe as graphically intense as this one, like Tabletop Simulator, would give maybe a better feel for how the game plays. So anyway, I would recommend that for you. And if you don't have Tabletop Simulator and don't want to buy it, then at least check out the videos with the gameplay demo and this video specifically about using the Tabletop Simulator mod and how that works, to maybe make that decision for yourself. Like, well, you know what? While I wait for the game, or while we got time left, let me check this out for myself and see if that's something I want to get into. All right, I think we'll go ahead and wrap it up there. I super duper encourage you though, go and check out the Kickstarter for yourself. So it's the Point Blank V is for Victory. If I remember, I'll stick a link in the description of the video, but come and check this out. And if you're interested, get in while you can. I'm going to go put this up before that 53 hours disappears. So I'll talk to you all later. Bye.